Hey guys, welcome back. I've got something very special for you today. This is my one of my very first projects in electronics, and this is what I started from. And the reason for this project was to kind of have more control over my computer. So I had an old computer, and it was overheating every so often because the cooling wasn't good enough. And so I decided to make something to fix this problem. So the first idea I've had was the Arduino, which is basically a little chip that allows you to control devices and connect other things to it to combine into something bigger and something that can actually do stuff, because Arduino on its own is just a computer, a tiny computer. So obviously I started from a very simple Arduino Nano. But for this project you can actually use multiple devices. You can use Arduino Uno, or even something larger. Well, it's still Arduino Uno, but with a shield. And this shield actually allows you to connect it to the internet just over here with a port, network port, and it allows you to control the whole thing over the internet with the right coding. But I've actually decided to stay with the Arduino Nano only because of the simplicity of the project. So my idea was to connect this to a temperature sensor, or more than one actually, and kind of come up with something that would alert me about the changes in the computer case, or in my case something that would start fans or stop fans when they're not needed. The reason for it was that the computer was kind of old and the fans were quite loud, so I only wanted to cool it down when it's really needed. So what I've done is I prepared something based on this Arduino Nano. My very first attempt was this. So basically this is a very simple device. We've got the Arduino, we've got 3 resistors, some cabling and cable ties, and also the temperature sensors. In this case, this is a DC18D20 digital temperature probe. So what this does is it basically just takes temperatures off of the environment. You can put 3 probes in the computer, and each one will take different temperatures. So this one was very simple, and it was doing very little. So the only thing that this is doing is just taking temperature. Right now there's nothing connected to it apart from the temperature sensors. So this was obviously my first attempt. It was only showing me the temperature, and I could plug it into my computer with this port here, and this would allow me to, this is a USB port by the way, this would allow me to just monitor the temperature and alert myself when something is going wrong. It would just show you that the temperature is this, and actually I actually called it intake, inside the case, and exhaust. So each one would have a different name, and they would come up with an alert when the temperature goes over a certain amount or over a certain number. So this is the very first simple attempt at coming up with something that would fix my problem, and initially it did fix my problem. It was helping with showing the temperature. I could control my fans using little switches, but this is still a manual job, so it wasn't really anything that I would like to continue with. So I kind of ditched this project, although it actually works. I ditched it and came up with something better, and something better was this. So this is pretty much exactly the same setup as before. We have the Arduino Nano, we have the resistors, and we have the probes. Again, 3 probes, just like before. And the difference here is that this is actually showing me the current temperature. So I came up with an idea that without looking at the serial port monitor in Arduino software, I wouldn't be able to actually see what's going on in my computer. So I've added these little diodes here, and what they do is they show the average temperature of all three sensors. So I can actually show you the difference. When I grab the sensors, I will raise the temperature of all of them, and you'll probably notice that now it's calculating the temperature, and it's moving on to the next diode. As you can see, it's moving on to the next diode every time it reaches certain point, and the certain point is, and this point is basically an average temperature. So now it reached whatever I set to be the alert to switch the fans on, and I'll show you. It actually goes back down as soon as I let go of this sensor, or all the sensors. It's going to continue to recalculate the temperature, and will actually allow me to kind of see that the computer is cooling down. The idea was that not only the code would show me what I'm doing and what's going on in my computer case, it would also show on these diodes here. So basically what's happening here is currently it's actually showing the alerts. So some of the sensors are over the limit that I've set for them, and each one has a different limit, obviously, because like intake should be lower in general. Then inside of the case is probably going to be a little bit higher, and the exhaust should be the highest of them all. So these three numbers are going down very slowly, but eventually they're all going to go back to just showing the name and the temperature, the current temperature. So what then happens is it takes these three readings and calculates the average of it, which then shows the correct color on the diodes. From the main components, I can tell you that I have, of course, the Arduino Nano, I have the resistors, and in this case these are the 4.7K resistors for the sensors, and some diodes and more resistors. These resistors will depend on what diodes you use, so you need to calculate your own resistance. So this is pretty much it for this project. I'm hoping to give you more of these in the future. This is my very first project that I worked on my own while learning how to do electronics and how to deal with Arduinos and how to pair it with other devices. So I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed the little clip, and I hope you can make your own device should you need one. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.